Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by DrRoto.com.
So let's get to it.
Bring the pain!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you in Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah! Man, is it crazy. We got week 3 that just happened in the NFL. We got the waiver wire hitting tonight. We are knee-deep in the Scott Fish Bowl 15. Also, we got the UFC returning this week. They're in Perth, Australia. And then the week after that, we got UFC's big event, man. I can't wait to do this. A double main event. I can't speak enough volume for what we're about to witness in the next week and a half from the UFC and the NFL. But man, how's everybody doing today? Are you ready for another Hard Hits review? It's time to bring the pain to this. This has been nuts. All right, we're just going to start it out. We'll just get the whole fantasy thing out the way real quick. People's seasonal teams are wrecked. These injuries are just overplayed. But of course, there's one place, one icon that has the right prescription for all of your fantasy needs, and that's Dr. Roto. He's been preaching it every single week. Don't freak out. Don't make moves that you're going to regret later. All I'm seeing across the internet and in a lot of rooms is, who do I trade? What do I do? What do I drop? Why am I dropping this player? Look, a lot of fantasy teams have changed. And it doesn't have to be your player. You could be like Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. T. Higgins right now has no stalker value with Browning in there. And I told everybody last week that Browning was a chump. Look what happened. I also told everybody about the Steelers defense being undaunted. 2,800 on DraftKings. I told you when that happens, you need to play it. Yeah, 4% owed, 16 points. Yeah, sure, it wasn't like the Vikings defense. But I mean, I had the Vikings defense. I had the Cardinals defense. Of course, I suggested the Saints defense, Falcons defense, but I said the Steelers defense if you could get them in. And that's what this is about. And that's what we do with Dr. Roto. We try to build your bankroll, but we're talking seasonal here. And we're one of the best sites for seasonal content. And right now, it's just hard to put it all together. You got this guy injured. Now you got Nick Bosa out. So remember, at the end of this podcast, I will have my Macho Pick of the Week, which will be part of, but not mentioned, on my Ultra Contrarian show and lineup. Also, we have, what more do you have? We have the IDP Hard Hits and Cool Picks article that just hit today for your waiver wire. I will take one player from that article today. I will tell you about him and tell you to go pick him up and why. And that will all be at the end of this podcast, because we have a few things to get to. We don't have UFC to cover, so let's talk about it. So with these injuries and poor play, it's only fueled my reason of why running backs like John Taylor and Bijan Robinson should be drafted above wide receivers. Have you gone off the deep end? Are you drinking the wrong soup cans? Because, if you're drinking the wrong soup, Kool-Aid, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it soup can, because guess what? That's how people are acting. Why are we doing that? Why are we drafting these? Why are we getting mad, right? We shouldn't be getting mad at these players. We shouldn't be getting mad at what's going on with the content right now with any site. But when 80 to 90% and a few radio stations push wide receivers down your throat, this is what you get. Everybody wants that big boom game. Ooh, Jamar Chase week 2. Hey, that was cute. What did he do for you this week? What did he do for you week 1? Remember that. And when you think about it, why I said players like Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Taylor should be drafted number 1 is because those are bell cows. You guys have all forgotten the true definition of a bell cow. It means a 3-down back. But I can say this 100,000 times, and that's not going to stop any of you picking from your wide receiver pool. Look, wide receiver was deep this year. Running back wasn't. And only the sites that recognize that pushed running backs. Reason why I would take Bijan Robinson, number 1 overall. Take Saquon Barkley, but even he had a bad week. Because sometimes the Eagles run into a team like my team, the Rams, and they get jacked up. Who said the Rams were going to jack them up? We did lose. Whatever, Eagle Nation. Whatever. Fly, Eagles, fly. Just go fly away. Because I'm not going to hear your jazz. I'm not going to hear it. We had that game won twice. Well, almost won once and could have had you guys coming back. Guess what? We sucked. We lost. And that's how it goes. But that's the irony of the NFL. But when I see week 1, people calling out the whole industry because of Gibbs having a bad week 1, and then he has the past 2 games he's had, like, just like everybody's attention span, that's your tolerance. Your tolerance for that. And guess what? Not a lot of people were picking Gibbs number 1, and then it became a cute little trend. I'm fine with Gibbs being number 1. I'm fine with Bijan Robinson, Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, and Saquon Barkley being the first 4 picks in a draft. Because guess what? Players at the back end are the ones that are scoring. Players like Hollywood Brown are surprising people. And I'm not saying he's a world beater, but at the same time, people like DJ Moore, who everybody's out on, continuously gets a touchdown or puts up decent points. This is not calling out the entire industry or people that back wide receiver first, but this is saying sometimes you gotta play it simple. The KISS rule, people. Keep it simple, stupid. We get told this all the time. You are overthinking yourselves when you know that I need a player like Jamar Chase, and now you have Jamar Chase with Browning as a quarterback. Meanwhile, Marcus Mariota is 10% owned on the DFS slates because, well, it's Marcus Mariota. And he did well with 20 points on DK. Now, I'm bringing this all up because in the industry, experts like myself get attacked because we tell you to pick somebody. But that's a suggestion. In the end, we're trying to steer you in the right way, trying to make your mind think the right way so that you can win your leagues and win money. That's what happens. Now, I feel bad because I drafted a team and the Bengals practically came out. So I had second pick overall, went Jamar Chase. I decided to play with the industry, right? And then I was able to come back around. I was able to get Chase Brown. Later on, I got, what's his face? Joe Burrow. Sorry about that. I mean, there's so much going on in my mind right now because we got Dana's White's Contender Series starting here too. So I got to get into the Subs Only Discord and I got to make my people money with some knockouts. All right. But while we're talking about that, this is what happened. So now I look like a buffoon because I made that call. But I don't because the rest of the team was fine. He was able to put in Kyler Murray. And with Kyler Murray, he was able to, he's competitive. He will still be competitive. And that's what you do. You make sure that you cover yourself, that you cover what you do and what you say and what your plan is. And another thing that the industry people do, they go, well, don't draft a quarterback. Don't draft a quarterback. You know what happens when you don't draft a second quarterback? You end up with Jake Browning, right? You end up with Marcus Mariota. You don't end up with somebody like Trevor Lawrence, or not that he's good, but somebody that can perform for you. I mean, and then you got CJ Stroud just crapping it up over here. Meanwhile, we got Danny Dimes sitting here like the next coming of Peyton Manning, just throwing the ball everywhere, making his team relevant. But he's doing that, and you could have had that as a draft pick. Of course, in most leagues, Danny Jones is probably still out there. However, when you draft somebody like Burrow and you get a chance to draft somebody like Kyler Murray, you're covered. The fact that a lot of people in this industry push no quarterbacks at all but one during the draft and then wide receiver first is only placating into what the industry wants you to do. Meanwhile, people are grabbing running backs and having a great time. I have 4 running backs on my team, and I'm ready for some trade value. I've got Jalen Warren, Kenneth Walker, Ashton Gentry, and Breece Hall. I owned it. Now, I regret taking Gianti. Now, I was picking 10th overall because I finished third last year. And I've been third, first. So it's hard. I haven't been able to get anybody. So I have to learn how to draft. Well, I've learned how to draft at the end of drafts. That makes you a better player. However, that doesn't always help with what happens. So right now we got Genti. Genti does have a good matchup this week. So, he might find his way into a few of my DFS lineups this week. But that being said, I just want everybody to know that, look, we're doing the best we can. And I understand that I'm not going to knock anybody for suggesting Jamar Chase overall number one. I'm not going to knock anybody for saying pick CeeDee Lamb number 3, 4, 5 overall. But like we've seen, that position is dependent on another position. So when you have two people that equal one unit, and that one unit or part of that unit is gone, like a receiver, now you have a problem throwing the ball. And we saw that this week. Again, it's no brainer, people. Keep it simple. Just do what you can do and get over to Dr. Roto. Join us today. Use code word WIN and we will make you our rich friend. Yeah! Woo! Man, I tell you, the one-liners just fly out of me. I'm like a one-line machine. I get in a lot of trouble with my one-liners, though, especially when I'm fighting. But that happens. I mean, it's what we do. But anyway, let's get to it. My NFL bets alone did great. We had Lou smashing it in there. I think he had like a 6-leg parlay, 5-leg, something like that. Doc, a lot of the players on Doc's Roto, or I should go Beta Visionaries, because he's got the Roto Visionaries and the Beta Visionaries, but he calls them the Roto Visionaries, whatever, bets. But that's what I call them. I call them the Beta Visionaries. All hit. We had one of the guys go in, take all those overs, bam, hit, right? So you got that. Then I came up 1 touchdown short of a 7-leg parlay. Like, Bijan Robinson broke the parlay. And you're looking at it, you're like, the Falcons, the Panthers, this is easy. No, that's the irony of the NFL, that sometimes things don't work out the way you think they're going to go. And that goes back to not blaming the experts because you took that advice and you drafted this person. If your gut feeling tells you to sway because you don't want to be like everybody else, sway. Guess what? By you making that extra pick, you screw up the whole draft. Now, everybody's draft strategies are out the window, and you're sitting here laughing because you just broke the draft. And that's what I like to do. And I say it all the time. I'm a draft breaker. I want to pick a player that will throw everybody off. Not one, not the player next to me, or the player before me, after me, whatever you want to call it. I'm not that guy. But those bets all hit. And at the same time, while we're hitting these bets, we're hitting live bets. Last night, my article had the first quarter bets hit. Plus 455. Right off the go, you're already in the money. I had Andrews touchdown. I did have Laporta touchdown. I did have Henry touchdown. Had Gibbs touchdown. So all that worked out as singles. But again, these bets and these lineups are going in at Dr. Roto. Practically, it was about last Monday, Tuesday, I think it was Monday, I threw in MLB lineup, and that MLB lineup took 10th. So, it was only after it was late, just got home from karate, and I had like a few minutes. So I literally threw it in, I saw the dollar lineup, bang, hit it, $25 later. Look, to a lot of you, that $25 may not, but that's extra money. That's building your bankroll for this week and building your bankroll for the UFC coverage that the Fight Club of Pain brings. Because I'm telling you right now, the Fight Club of Pain is one of the best UFC podcasts out there. I've said it constantly. What we do every single week, nailing knockouts, nailing rounds, nailing 7 different ways a knockout. I can't think of a better way or many other sites that have the chest to say it. Yeah, and I'm saying it. But that is so just me alone, combined with what Lou put in and then everybody else's betting articles and DFS articles. There is a ton. In matter of fact, what I'm really excited about is the new shows that just started. So Danger, Trevor, and different sets of guys. Lou, he popped in. They have a new show called Rise and Grind that aired today. Today was the very first show. So they went in, kind of did a review of the slate. Of course, you have this one right here. You got the hard hits review. So you get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of the DFS review and the betting review as well. Also, any given entry. This is a single entry tournament podcast solely run by, Trevor was on it. I think Lou was on it this week. And of course, Danger. They all did a great job. It was great that they went for the single entry, because we're like me and Steve's taking the GPP, and that's Fuego Steve taking the GPP, and I'm taking the cash game lineups. Now you have another part of Dr. Roto, another division of Dr. Roto attacking the single entry. So you have it all. You're getting that for free, and behind the paywall, we have insurmountable information for you to win. On top of that, we are in the subs only Discord practically. I'm not going to say 24 hours, because a lot of us do have jobs in the morning and do go to sleep at some time. But, throughout the day, we'll see the question. Somebody else will answer it. We kind of tag team things. And so I want to make sure that that's it, because my DFS lineups right now are both 2-1 for the Ultra Contrarian show. And those are cash game lineups, right? But you just have to keep building. You have to keep the same flow going. And a lot of that's been having Bijan Robinson on my team, only 25% owned this week. 25% owned Bijan Robinson. I will take that any week. I don't care if he's chalk. I don't care if you call it GPP. He's going to be in my lineup, right? At the same time, when we're doing this, we're also, like I was saying, hitting these parlays. We're hitting these parlays and round robins. So let me give a little history lesson. Let's just talk it. If you don't know what a round robin is, of course, it's when you take a bunch of picks, you put them together, and it literally makes all the lineups for you. So you get so let's say you do 4. You're going to get 2 lineups of each. You're going to get all the lineups of just 2 players of each of those pool of players. Then it goes up to the 3-ways. It'll make your 3-ways. Then, of course, you get the 4-way. So what I did with the UFC a couple weeks ago, and have been doing for the past couple weeks, is I'm so good at picking UFC, I'm round robining these things. I'm missing on one pick. So you're getting the 2-string parlays, 3-string parlays, 4-string parlays, 5-string parlays, 6-string parlays. Look, we're not tooting my own horn here. All right. I am putting it all out there because I'm being transparent with you. You can go to the Dr. Roto, you can watch the Fight Club of Pain, and you can win money, or you can doubt and hate. That's your choice. That doesn't change my trajectory of what we're going to do every single week at Dr. Roto. So with that being said, it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. Now you take that one parlay and you take that money line parlay and you flip it over to what I've been kind of finding, and I will not mention it because I don't want them to take it away. And I'm talking about the sports book, because after I ran my mouth a lot about the tackle props, now FanDuel and DraftKings don't put them up. Sorry, team. That's the way it is. They listen to me too much. I'll take the blunt of that. That's my fault. I'm the one that went after them, hit them at live when they were trying to say this dude had 20 tackles and they were offering a 10 tackle bet at the time. Yes, the screenshots do exist of that moments. It went on for a couple weeks and I caught it because they were trying to make money off that, and eventually it got fixed and now there's no tackles. Hey, sorry if I'm observant of what you're trying to do, which is jack us out our cash. So that's why we're going to jack y'all out your cash. And that's what we do every week at Dr. Roto. So I had a finish round robin. Now that was only for my Fight Club people and my real cool people. So I nailed 6 finishes and it was a plus 3578. I don't know what to tell you, but I've only been doing UFC since February. I seem to hit the sauce. I seem to understand what it's doing. And I'm using a lot of my fight theory that I'm trained for when I fight, when I watch these fights, to see what I can see that one fighter can exploit. Again, as a fighter, I can look at my opponent while battling them, and I can pick out what parts and what is working and what not. They can do the same thing too. But here's the thing. I'm not trying to worry about their doing. I'm just going to attack them. And through attacking them, watching the fight tapes, and then watching the actual fights, you see the openings you would take, and me and Dan have talked about this all the time on the Fight Club of Pain, the opportunities you would take. Now, if that fighter is in that position to make that finish and uses that, and that is say a counter or a sneaky knee like we did with RDR in the Bo Nickel fight, that is what makes your money. That is what separates a true fighter giving DFS and betting advice from other people that haven't had combat sports. That doesn't make us better than you, but for me, I will say I find it hard for someone that's never been punched in the face a lot and punches people in the face to understand how to punch someone in the face off of an angle or an attack. There's no way you know how to do that. And because you don't know how to do that, that is why you're not going to nail the finishes. Stick to the money lines, kindergarten. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Hey, I'm here, man. I'm here all day. I fight the 18th. And when I fight this, even if I win or lose, I'm the overall champ. I've already won. So that's what I'm saying. If I'm the champion and I'm the grand champion as of 2 weeks ago, I know how to exploit moments. I know how to push forth. I know how. And it's showing up in the work. Can I explain it? No, I can't. You can look at all the numbers in the world, but every single number in the world, and I will say this again, did not think that RDR would have knocked out Bo Nickel with that flying knee. Well, not flying knee. He gave him knees to his stomach, and then Bo Nickel bent over like a little baby. Well, sorry, Bo. I had a little money on you. You were the favorite. But in the end, that plus 2,600 finish, 2,300 finish, is what it's all about. Those are the opportunities you have with the Fight Club of Pain from Dr. Roto on Dr. Roto Network. So that is what I wanted to bring up. I wanted to talk about that. And when I do get things wrong, I get it. I got things wrong this week. So I went to teach one of our dudes, Staley, I think his last name is, whatever, that's his name on the Discord, about Ron Robbins. We only did a 3-pack. Wouldn't you know, of those two, I had Atlanta and Green Bay. So we only got the single bet back. We were able to return that little bit of bet. But he understood it a little more, and that's what it is about, teaching and learning and how to make different angles from those different bets. Now, that being said, that's the difference between the UFC, NFL, MLB, is that there's multiple ways to finish, and you can hit those finishes from multiple ways. And you get that every week. So, that being said, we've got all that covered right now. This Friday, because me and Dan have traveling to do, we're meeting up in Grove City, Pennsylvania, on Thursday. The Fight Club of Pain will not be live on Thursday. It will be live on Friday at, say, 7 p.m., right around 7 p.m., early, late, give or take a few minutes. We'll be covering probably 3 fights, the usual. There's no reason for us to cover the whole card. Again, a lot of these people are soup cans. Nobody wants to put money on half that card anyway, although I probably will. But that's just what I do because it's my job and I have to understand those things. And I need to win and lose on those things. But, however, we will be covering 3 fights. I've already got everything written up. I've already got a few picks already made. I'm really excited. Also, I want to say we have a DFS optimizer at Dr. Roto for that through one of our partners, and I'm totally excited to announce that this week. I told Dan about it, but because Dan doesn't play DFS or bet, he's like, hey, that's great. But we're able to check out DFS Heroes, check theirs out, and able to be part of that. So now I can do that. So starting this week on the Fight Club of Pain, you will get Dan's lineup for DK. You will get my lineup for DK, and you will also get an optimized lineup. Now, I'm also going to program the optimizer with my rankings, which I already have down for the UFC this week. I can't be more excited. I loved playing around with the optimizer with the last card, and I'll tell you what, it nailed it, other than Zachary Reese. Oh boy, I'm past you, bro, and I'm past Cedric Dumas acting like he got kicked in the wang, and all of a sudden everybody just lost their money, and I was fighting that day, so I had one lineup on each site, and both those lineups had Reese. So we've already been there. We talked about it last week, everything like that. But for me, right there, UFC Perth, Australia, it will be on later, of course, on Saturday. So you'll get the soup can of the week if it comes back. Again, that's kind of a hard one. When you have a card full of soup cans, kind of like I think it was the one in China. Like, there's no reason to write one up. Like, half the card soup cans. We don't need it. But you will get the 5-tastic picks. You get that every single week that there's a UFC event. But I know Dan's ready to get back to it but man, I gotta tell you, when we get to UFC 20, it's gonna be off the hook. I mean, how can an event that features Ankalaev and Pereira going for the belt be a failure? It's not going to be. But here's the thing. Also, you have Merab Dvalishvili taking on Corey Sandhagen. This match is going to be nuts, people. But man, Dvalishvili never gives up. And then you got Khalil Roundtree that was just in a main event recently going against Yuri Prochazka. So for me, I see all that together. You see Josh Emmett on this card. UFC 320 next Saturday is going to be a huge Fight Club of Pain episode. We'll be back on Thursday for that. But this Friday, you will have that. Also, I want to say this Friday, following us will be the Friday Night Lights with Dr. Roto, Swami, and Willie Walls. Danger jumped in on that show last week and was like, I didn't know what to do. There was just so much going on. I thought Doc was the ref. Danger was like the announcer. He was like, well, what's going on, guys? So that was pretty funny. All right. I know y'all been waiting. So that's going to be, Oberg versus Reyes. That's this week. That's this Saturday. Get it? We're going to win you some money. We're going to win that money. You're going to take that money and you're going to play it the next day on the NFL, and we're going to win some money then too. And when we win that money, people, get to Dr. Roto. Sign up for the full access so that you get all of the tools, all of the sports. I mean, we already got Fuego Steve as a WNBA bet in for tonight. And then when the NBA gets going, him and Steve Bell are going to be kicking some butt, man. I can't wait. All right. Well, let's get to it. Let's get to the IDP player of the week that I'm going to play. I'm going to highlight Nick Bolton. You know why? He's only 16% owned. But man, coming off a 14 tackle performance against the Giants shows why Nick Bolton is one of the best linebackers in the league. I wouldn't say best, but almost best. He shows up, he shows out, and he does that. But right now, Kansas City is hungry. And they got a problem this week. They got the Ravens. The Ravens who have lost 2 games practically to Derrick Henry fumbling. Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Justice Hill, and Mark Andrews attack the middle of the field all the time. Other than Mark Andrews' second touchdown last night, which was kind of a fade from the idle to the out, it's going to be that way. This is going to put Nick Bolton in a great spot to almost duplicate the 14 tackles. If you can find a 6 to 7 total tackles and assist prop, whatever you want to call it, on any of your sites, take it. Because I know FanDuel and DraftKings are too scared to actually put that number out. So any other site that got those numbers, Prize Picks, take it. Right? But I've said this years and years about Nick Bolton. He just turns it up. Kansas City needs to turn it up. Plus, the run defense hasn't been bad at all. Trust me or not, Nick Bolton, 16% owned, and he's out there. This is the type of player you need if you have just a defensive spot and not a defensive line and linebacker spot to replace somebody like Nick Bosa. That's what happens. All right, everybody, let's get to it. Let's get to the Macho Pick of the Week.
Ooh, yeah, heat override. I was a little let down last week. Ooh, yeah. We had the Kyron Williams. We had the Big doing the things, but then after Kyron Williams, oh yeah, didn't get the touchdown at the end of that game. He let me down. I took a hiatus. I let you go the Macho Pick on the Ultra Contrarian. So but this week, the Macho Pick of the week is going to be none other than
James Cook. I'm running into it. Is it easy, people? Maybe. Maybe it's easy. But here's the point. Again, James Cook continuously, nobody's rostering him. He's scoring over 20 points. He has a boom matchup this week. 7,100 on DK. I will pay that all day, every day. DraftKings, thank you. James Cook is going to be probably in 100% of my lineups. Whoop. I love it. 8,500 on FanDuel. Man, FanDuel got crazy with John Taylor this week. Man, it was real salty. That boy's been running up. Look, even FanDuel and DraftKings, especially FanDuel, knows that you should be drafting Jonathan Taylor in the first 3 picks and not Jamar Chase, not CeeDee Lamb. Again, the sport books and the DFS sites back what I've been saying the whole podcast, the whole year. Always take your running backs and find them value wide receivers. You'll definitely love it. Also, DraftKings has anytime touchdown for James Cook is a negative 200. I can't think of a better play than this right now. Get that James Cook negative 200. Buffalo, especially Josh Allen, is relying on him a lot. The receivers seem to be trading touchdowns every single week. The only receiver / tight end that's safe is Dalton Kincaid. That's him. So if you're going to play a wide receiver and you're going to play James Cook and Josh Allen, then that's the angle you need to play. And also, DraftKings is offering an over 3.5 yards for James Cook's first carry. It's up negative 165. Every single week, the Buffalo Bills are getting a lot of yards with James Cook. There's no reason James Cook cannot get 4 yards. And that leads to why this is something numbers will never tell you. And mark my words, if you want to argue with me and you want to fight with me, you know where to find me at. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and it's really going to make you happy. Why I'm able to nail so many quarter props and yard props is because I know plays. Once after a certain point of a game, I have seen the playbook expunged or used, then I start calling things. In the subs only Dr. Roto Discord, I said smash ladder Justice Hill right now. Do receiving and rushing 5, 10, 15, and 20. Do all 4 of those right now. Justice Hill went into that fourth quarter with like 4 yards. And then he caught that 32-yard pass. You could say I'm lucky. You can say what you want. But I'm going to tell you this. I said the Justice Hill call hours before it happened. It was already played. And it was suggested. And it happened. It's not luck when you know it's going to happen. And it did. Other parlays during this game that I hit and missed. I missed on my second quarter parlay where it was Laporta needed 15 yards. Yes, I got a little hungry. 15 yards for the parlay. I did him, and I did 10 yards for Bateman. And Bateman got like a 20-yard pass. So for me, when I'm going back and I'm looking at everything I'm doing, and I see first quarter prop, second quarter props, we're talking, and I'm going to tell you right now, those Justice Hills, those are all positive. The +5, I think the 5 yards was a negative 146. The 10 was a +240. The 15 was a +380. And the 20 was a +500. Who's giving you that out live? You know, that's why you got to get in the subs only Discord, because I fight a lot. I'm busy. When I get home and it's late night and I'm watching a game like that, that makes me know that I'm going to be there for you and that you're going to win or we're going to lose money together. I'm not always perfect. Look, I know that. But one thing I do try to do, and one thing I always try to, and what we strive for at Dr. Roto, is to make you our rich friend. We always have the right cure for all of your fantasy needs. Have a great day, everybody, and always remember, to bring the pain. Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.